Welcome to Dancing Water. My name's Susan. I'm delighted that you're here, and I'm here to offer the Dancing Water daily practice, which today is an Ajna practice. Ajna is a Sanskrit word that means inner knowing, and our Ajna practices are self-guided practices. I offer a light structure, and then I invite you to take them out into the world and use them however they serve you best. And I've been thinking a lot about the feeling of overwhelm. And I came across this quote that just I loved. It's the quote is, "The world is too effing big. Sometimes I can't even carry myself through all the love and fear." Sherman Alexie. Do you ever feel like that? Do you ever feel like the world is too big? It could even be that your world, the things that are just even in your purview, are too big. But if I expand out even further, I can really feel overwhelmed really quickly. And especially when things are changing a lot, or when I feel like there's too much to do or too much to feel, I can really feel my little boat getting swamped really quickly. Now, one of the things that's interesting is I've been thinking about this recently, and I realized that I spent a lot of my life being overwhelmed and not realizing it. And so if you feel overwhelmed and you know you do, then that is at least part of the experience of moving through it, is to recognize the sensation. So I have some thoughts about this, and I'm going to guide us through a meditation, or it could be a journaling exercise. It could be a conversation you have with someone you care about. Just lead you through a few questions, and you can use them however they work for you. These were inspired by a couple of things that I have used this week on Insight Timer. One is a meditation called Overcoming Overwhelm by Caroline Stewart. It's wonderful. It's not that long, but it's really good. And then the other is called Feeling Overwhelmed, and that is the Pretty Spiritual podcast. And this was a conversation between three people, and I found it tremendously helpful. So I borrowed a little from both of these, and I really strongly recommend going and checking both of them out. And I'll put the links below so you can find them. You can also find them always, all the links at my blog, which is focusfocusnow.com. So either grab your journal or just find a comfortable seat. You can sit, you can lie down, or you can just take this with you, take it on a walk, just contemplate the questions, or if the sensation of overwhelm comes up, these are great questions to pull out. So maybe you just jot down the questions and use them later. So as you settle in, take a couple of deep breaths. And perhaps you're feeling overwhelmed right now. And if so, that's actually kind of handy. But if not, you might think about something that does feel overwhelming to you. Maybe it's something in your work or in your home life. Maybe it's something in the greater world, in the politics or other issues that matter to you. Just take a moment and let yourself be with something that feels like it's a lot. And then ask yourself, what is your experience with overwhelm? What is the physical sensation of feeling overwhelmed? And that sensation may be more than one. I have a couple of overwhelmed sensations. What do you think caused your feeling of overwhelm? Maybe you know. Why might this sensation be here? And what's your response? There may be a sensation, but then is there something that you do or don't do when you feel overwhelmed? And how has being overwhelmed served you in the past? Caroline Stewart suggests that perhaps overwhelm is a habit. And if it was a habit, that means it solved a problem. So what problem might it have solved at some point in the past or in the present? And when I feel overwhelmed, what stories do I tell about myself? What do I believe about myself when I'm overwhelmed? So you can sit with these questions, just notice what comes up. You can journal, as I mentioned, or have a conversation, or just have a time of contemplation around your experience with overwhelm. And there are some tools that I find helpful in my navigation of overwhelm. And one of them is to stop and pause, perhaps investigate the answer to some of these questions, see what's underneath the, either for me is either a collapsing or a compulsion to get busy and get something done. It can be really instructive to look at what is at the root of the sensation and the feeling. Then I can also allow myself to just focus on one thing, one simple thing that I could do that might move me a little bit, nudge me out of overwhelm. Now, this can be tricky because sometimes my mind gets into a swirl and a spiral, and I want to do everything all at once, and focus can feel elusive. And if that happens, go back to step one and pause and check in again. Related to this is asking myself, how could I make this more simple? What's something that I could do that would allow me to drop the rope of struggle around being overwhelmed? The podcast, the Feeling Overwhelmed podcast, has some other suggestions, some other strategies and tools, and maybe you have some of your own. I would love to hear them. Any comments or questions, any observations that you have, it would be such a gift if you could share them. And if you have anything that you'd like to check in with me about, any topics that you'd like me to cover in upcoming Dancing Water daily practices, I would love to hear them. So again, please go to the comments below this video. I love to hear from you that way. Or you can connect with me at my blog at focusfocusnow.com. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please do reach out and share these. And if you have the means and the inspiration, any donation toward the continued creation of these practices would be so gratefully accepted. Friends, all of us feel overwhelmed sometimes. It's a totally natural thing. And the practice is really just to notice, to pay attention, and to ask yourself, how can I skillfully navigate this feeling? Thank you for practicing with me. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to hearing how you use this. Take care of you. See you next time. Mwah. Bye.